Welcome back. I'm so excited for today's video because it's on one of my favorite topics. If you know anything about e-commerce or really retail in general, you know that for most stores, Q4 is the biggest shopping time of the year. It's been true for my handmade business for the last 6 years, and Etsy print on demand is no different. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know that I was a little late to the print on demand game. I was not part of the huge e-commerce boom that happened with print on demand and Etsy over the course of the pandemic. My very first Q4 of selling with print on demand was in 2022. Let me give you a quick rundown of those numbers. In October of 2022, my sales were $11,167. In November, my sales were $31,804. And in December, my sales were $27,428. That is a grand total combined revenue of $70,399. And I already know your next question. My total net profit after all the Etsy fees, after the Etsy ads that I ran, after all of my costs to produce the products with Printify, my net profit was $17,046, which if you do the math is about a 24% net profit margin. Now for context, in e-commerce, the average gross profit margin is considered to be about 41.5%. However, the average net profit margin, which means all of your overhead and those fees, is actually only about 10%. So 24% as a net profit margin still feels pretty darn good. Now, if you've seen other videos from big sellers in the print-on-demand space that have been in the business for several years, my numbers may not seem all that impressive. But keep in mind that in October of 2022, my print-on-demand shop had only been open for about 5 months. And I was only doing it on the side while running my handmade business full-time. If you want to hear more about what I did specifically to scale my shop wildly fast before Q4, I've linked a few of my other helpful videos for you. But for today's video, I want to talk about 6 things that you can be doing right now to give you the best chance for skyrocketing sales in Q4. Because now is the time to do it, and it'll be here before you know it. First, let's talk about why now? Depending on when you're watching this, the first day of summer was just yesterday. But remember, Etsy's algorithm process can take a little bit of time. And organic ranking for both your shop and your listings doesn't happen overnight. So ideally, we want to give our listings plenty of time to start getting views, start getting interest from shoppers, start getting favorites, and even when possible, start getting sales and reviews, because those are the things that are going to boost you in the Etsy ranking system. And if you're wondering if it's too early, I just sold a Christmas themed sweatshirt a couple weeks ago. Do not underestimate early shoppers. So let's get into it. What should you be doing right now? Number 1, build your shop. If you've been waiting to open up your Etsy shop because you're not sure if your designs are good enough, or you're waiting until you have the perfect branding in place, I'm here to tell you, get off the bench and start going. Lean into the uncertainty and get comfortable with being a beginner. It will feel rough and imperfect at first, and it may take some time to find your rhythm, but now's the time to do that. The more you do it and the more time you spend practicing those skills, the better you will get. Practice makes progress. And if you've already got a shop going, but you feel like it's not really doing anything right now, a big part of that is probably because we're just in a slower time of year. Some people call this the summer slump. Not including the pandemic years, Etsy's typical slowest times of year are June, July, and August. People are out enjoying their summers and they're not online shopping very much. And this is normal. Running a business, any business, will have ebbs and flows, and it will have those peaks and valleys. This is not the time to despair or give up though. This is your time to hustle. Set a goal to spend even just 30 minutes a day searching through Etsy, searching through Pinterest, scoping out your target audience to get your creative flow going. And then set another goal. Can you get in 5 listings a day or even 10 listings in a week? It may feel overwhelming and a lot at first, but these are short-term actions that are intended to bring long-term results. Number 2, when I talk about spending time on Etsy and Pinterest doing some searching, the things you're searching for are going to be trends and demand within your target audience. When you're doing searches on Etsy, look for items that are in carts and in demand. I've recently started using the Everbee Chrome extension, and one of the things that I like to look for with that are top selling items within a niche, particularly from listings that haven't been out there for very long. If I find a listing that looks like it's getting some good traction, I'll click into it. I'll look to see if it's in cart. I'll look to see if it has a bestseller badge. I'll be looking to see how long it's been listed, what types of keywords that they're using, and then I'll look at the shop that it came from. If it's a very large shop that's been around for a while, chances are that shop already has some natural organic ranking, which naturally boosts a lot of the listings that they've got in place. But one of the things that you can do with this information is you can study the design and study the audience that it's likely attracting. Does it have a vintage or retro feel to it? Does it have a specific niche associated with it? Is there something funny or catchy about what's on the shirt that you could then pivot into a different niche or style? Or perhaps even create a holiday variation of it. To be clear, we are not hijacking another store's design. Stealing someone else's design is never okay, and is quite frankly a total waste of time, because the chances of you being able to compete with that seller on a listing that's already ranking and doing well is not very high. So you've spent a whole lot of time recreating something that probably won't sell for you. But what we can do is study it and figure out why it's a successful listing and why it's in demand, and then create something unique that will differentiate your listing in the marketplace. Number 3, review the variations that you offer on your listings. For example, if you design apparel and you sell sweatshirts and you normally only offer white and gray and black, take a look at your designs and see if they will also work on colors like sand and forest green. These are historically very popular colors and tend to do very, very well in terms of sales. And when mock-ups for them are used, they do stand out from, again, those shops that are only offering basic colors. As you start adding them to your shop, then you can start using mock-ups for these colors as your first listing photo, because remember that first listing photo is the first thing that customers see and often what they end up buying. Number 4 is a big one. Start sourcing backups for products that you sell. One of the reasons that I love working with Printify is because unlike other print providers, they have a network of print providers available for merchants to use. This means that depending on your product, if it goes out of stock from one print provider, you have options for getting it from another one. Apparel is typically the easiest, and so I generally like to have some backups for some of the main colors that I like to sell. For example, SwiftPod is one of my primary providers for apparel, but during the holidays, I've also used Awkward Styles, I've used Duplium for Canada orders, and also for US orders, because they tend to have a large variety of colors in their Gildan 18,000 sweatshirts, which is what I like to sell. And Monster Digital is another popular one as well, but they tend to not have sand or forest green as an option. Another example is ornaments. They have a few different providers for those. The point is, and now is the time to figure out who your backups might be and do some testing with samples if you need to. Some products are unique, and so not all of them have backup providers within Printify, and if that's the case, there are other sources that you can find and search for that you can potentially use as alternatives. Awkward Styles has their own standalone platform that quite often has additional options that you can look at. And of course, Printful is another popular one out there as well. But at the very least, have the mindset of assuming that at least once during the holidays, you might have to source from somewhere else, and be prepared, because then it will be far less daunting and scary when it does happen. Number 5, do a quick self-audit of your shop. Do you need to clear out some listings that simply aren't working, or have some early designs that simply aren't that great? Or maybe you have some listings that have been up for several months, but when you look at the stats, they're not getting any views or favorites. Do some cleanup of those, and then focus on optimizing some of your better listings that are getting traction. You want to be able to fill your shop with more of what's already working. During your self-audit, also look at policies. Make sure your cancellation, returns, and exchanges policies are where you want them to be. You can always make changes down the road, but it's good to be aware of what you've got them set up with right now in case you do want to make changes for the holiday season. And finally, with your shop audit, make sure that you run your prices through a profit calculator. You don't want to wait until you have an influx of orders to find out that you're losing money on all of your sales. And number 6, consider incorporating seasonal items specific to your niche. This could be things like stockings or ornaments, themed sweatshirts, and even group holiday party shirts. For example, if you sell in the teacher niche, you could design some assistant principal themed mugs or totes, Perhaps you sell in the wedding and anniversary niche, and you could create some amazing ornaments that are unique keepsakes. All that being said, what I don't recommend is making generic Christmas themed designs. The bigger shops typically dominate in those areas, and so it's going to be much harder to rank for Christmas and general holiday themed items, especially in the clothing space. In general, if you are going to make season specific items, whether it's for Thanksgiving or Christmas or any holiday in between, make those sooner rather than later and make them specific to your niche. This will give you a much better chance of standing out in search results. Also remember, Christmas themed items in general have a very limited run, and shoppers are also looking for gifts. People generally aren't buying Christmas themed shirts for someone to open on Christmas Day. So don't feel like you need to go too wild on holiday themes. It's just another way to round out your shop, and you can absolutely focus on the evergreen designs as well. Well, I don't know about you, but I am completely fired up for Q4 this year. I will definitely be doing another video as we get closer to Q4 to take a deeper dive of going into specific settings, shipping updates, message responses, and a bunch of other tips to help you prepare for the season. But those can be left until we get a little bit closer. Nobody needs a holiday shipping banner right now. Right now, your focus should be on building your shop and flexing those design muscles so that you will have valuable listings for your target audience in the marketplace and ready for shoppers. I hope this has been helpful for you and motivated you to start getting your shop in shape for the biggest shopping time of the year. If you want to learn more about my strategies for thriving in your print-on-demand business, make sure you're subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out on any of the upcoming content. And in the meantime, make sure you check out the dedicated playlist that has my masterclass course right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you next time. And if you're looking for more helpful ways to continue the work and stay connected, I invite you to join me over on Patreon, where I provide a membership to get exclusive access to my Google Drive with all sorts of wonderful tools and resources that I've created and continue adding to every month. It's also a place to join conversations as I think about future content and how I can serve you with the most amount of value. I also hope that you'll smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on all the exciting upcoming content that I've got planned for this channel. And finally, I invite you to check out my brand new website where you can subscribe to my own email list, follow along on new blog content that I will be building, and access other freebies that I have available on there to support you on your journey.